day, millions of cat owners unknowingly commit a mistake that veterinarians are desperately trying to warn us about. It's not something dramatic or obviously dangerous. In fact, it's so normal, so widely accepted, that you probably do it without even thinking twice. But here's the shocking truth. This single habit is silently stealing years from your cat's life, setting them up for painful diseases and robbing them of the quality of life they deserve. If you love your feline companion, the next few minutes could be the most important information you'll ever learn about their health and longevity. What I'm about to reveal might surprise you, might even make you uncomfortable, but I promise you this. Understanding this problem could add precious years to your time together. Free feeding, the practice of leaving food constantly available for your cat throughout the day, has become the default feeding method for an estimated 60 to 70% of cat owners worldwide. This habit gained popularity because it seems convenient, compassionate, and aligned with our perception of feline independence. We tell ourselves that cats are natural grazers who should eat small amounts throughout the day, and manufacturers even design automatic feeders to support this approach. The practice feels responsible because we never want our pets to feel hungry, and it eliminates the guilt of delayed feeding when our schedules get hectic. Pet food companies have reinforced this behavior through marketing campaigns that emphasize always available nutrition and feed freely, while veterinary warnings have been drowned out by the convenience culture. Many cat owners inherited this feeding method from previous generations, or adopted it based on advice from well-meaning but outdated sources. The emotional comfort of knowing your cat can eat whenever they want creates a powerful psychological reinforcement that makes this habit incredibly difficult to break. Additionally, our anthropomorphization of cats leads us to project human eating patterns onto them, assuming they have the same self-regulation capabilities we do, when in reality, their relationship with food is fundamentally different from ours. When cats have constant access to food, their bodies enter a perpetual metabolic state that contradicts millions of years of evolutionary programming. Domestic cats descended from desert-dwelling ancestors who experienced feast or famine cycles, with their metabolism designed for intermittent feeding patterns that included periods of fasting between successful hunts. Free feeding disrupts this biological blueprint, causing insulin resistance to develop as the pancreas continuously produces insulin without the regulatory breaks that fasting periods provide. This constant insulin exposure leads to a dramatically increased risk of type 2 diabetes, with free-fed cats being 3 to 5 times more likely to develop this condition compared to meal-fed cats. The obesity epidemic in felines directly correlates with the rise of free-feeding practices, with current statistics showing that 60% of domestic cats are overweight or obese, a staggering increase from just 30% in the 1980s, before free feeding became mainstream. Excess weight places tremendous strain on every organ system. Joints deteriorate faster, leading to painful arthritis. The heart must work harder, causing cardiac disease. The liver becomes infiltrated with fat, causing hepatic lipidosis. And the kidneys experience increased filtration stress, accelerating chronic kidney disease. Furthermore, overweight cats face significantly higher risks during anesthesia and surgery, suffer from lower urinary tract diseases, develop skin conditions due to inability to groom properly, and experience compromised immune function, making them more susceptible to infections and even certain cancers. Beyond the physical health consequences, free feeding fundamentally disrupts the complex behavioral and psychological needs that are essential to feline well-being. Cats are obligate carnivores with predatory instincts that require expression through hunting behaviors, which naturally include periods of food-seeking activity, stalking, catching, consuming, and then resting. When food is always available, this entire behavioral sequence is short-circuited, leading to profound psychological consequences, including chronic boredom, anxiety, and depression. The hunting, eating, grooming, sleeping cycle that should occupy a significant portion of a cat's day becomes condensed to mindless grazing, leaving hours of unfulfilled behavioral needs that manifest as destructive behaviors, excessive vocalization, aggression toward other pets or humans, or obsessive grooming. Research from feline behaviorists has demonstrated that cats fed on a schedule show significantly higher levels of environmental engagement, play behavior, and overall life satisfaction compared to free-fed cats who often exhibit learned helplessness and reduced curiosity. The dopamine reward cycle associated with successful foraging is completely absent in free-feeding scenarios, essentially removing one of the primary sources of mental stimulation and satisfaction from your cat's life. Additionally, multi-cat households where free feeding is practiced often develop resource guarding issues, food aggression, and social hierarchies that cause chronic stress for subordinate cats who may eat defensively or avoid eating when dominant cats are present, leading to either obesity or malnutrition, depending on their position in the social structure. The cumulative effect of free feeding on feline longevity is staggering and well documented in veterinary literature. Studies tracking thousands of cats over their lifetimes have revealed that overweight cats live on average 2-3 years less than their healthy weight counterparts. But the impact goes far beyond simple lifespan reduction. The quality of those years is dramatically compromised, with free-fed, overweight cats spending their senior years managing multiple chronic conditions that require expensive medications, frequent veterinary visits, and often painful medical interventions. Diabetic cats require twice-daily insulin injections, regular blood glucose monitoring, and are at constant risk of life-threatening hypoglycemic episodes or diabetic ketoacidosis. Arthritic cats experience chronic pain that limits their mobility, prevents them from reaching litter boxes or favorite resting spots, and often leads to behavioral problems that strain the human-animal bond. Cats with hepatic lipidosis face months of intensive treatment, including feeding tubes, hospitalization, and have mortality rates approaching 90% if not caught early and treated aggressively. The financial burden of treating obesity-related conditions can easily reach $5,000, $15,000 over a cat's lifetime, not including the emotional toll of watching your beloved companion suffer through preventable diseases. Perhaps most heartbreaking is that many of these conditions could have been completely avoided through proper feeding practices implemented early in the cat's life. Senior cats who maintained healthy weights throughout their lives remain active, playful, and engaged well into their late teens and even early 20s, while their overweight counterparts often face euthanasia decisions by age 12-14 due to untreatable complications from obesity-related diseases. Transitioning from free feeding to scheduled meal-based feeding is the single most impactful change most cat owners can make to extend their cat's life and improve well-being. The process begins with calculating your cat's actual caloric needs based on their ideal body weight, not current weight if overweight, which typically ranges from 20-35 calories per pound depending on age, activity level, and whether they're spayed or neutered. Veterinarians recommend dividing this daily calorie allotment into 2 to 4 scheduled meals, ideally mimicking the natural feeding pattern of multiple small prey throughout the day. Start by establishing consistent feeding times, removing food after 20-30 minutes, even if not completely consumed, and absolutely never leaving food out between meals. For cats currently free-fed, the transition should be gradual over 2 to 4 weeks, slowly reducing the hours food is available while increasing the amount given at scheduled times, watching carefully for signs of stress or concerning behavior changes. Incorporate feeding puzzles and interactive feeders that engage hunting behaviors, making meals mentally stimulating rather than passive consumption events. Environmental enrichment becomes crucial during this transition. Increase play sessions, particularly before meals, to simulate the hunt, catch, eat, groom, sleep cycle. Provide vertical territory with cat trees and shelves, offer window perches for environmental stimulation, and ensure adequate resources in multi-cat households. For cats who have already developed obesity, work closely with your veterinarian to create a safe weight loss plan, as rapid weight loss in cats can trigger fatal hepatic lipidosis. Weight loss should never exceed 1 to 2% of body weight per week, and progress should be monitored with regular weigh-ins and body condition assessments. The remarkable news is that even senior cats can benefit from transitioning to meal feeding, with improvements in energy levels, mobility, and overall health often visible within weeks of implementing proper feeding schedules. Consistency is absolutely critical. Once you commit to scheduled feeding, maintaining that routine becomes the foundation of your cat's health for the rest of their life. The feeding bowl sitting on your kitchen floor might seem innocent, but now you know the truth. Free feeding isn't the kindness we've been led to believe. It's a silent threat that steals years from our cats' lives. The good news? You have the power to change this today. Every meal you schedule, every feeding routine you establish, is a gift of health and longevity to your feline companion. Your cat is counting on you to make the right choice. Their future starts with your very next feeding decision.